Just like your grandparents, COMLEX is getting shorter.
Oh my God!
There's some pretty major changes happening to all 3 levels of COMLEX, and it's happening sooner than you think. If you're a DO student or resident who hasn't finished all 3 yet, this 100% affects you. I'm Dr. Lucas, former medical school professor, the DO you don't want to bring home to mom, and full-time COMLEX tutor. I'm going to explain exactly what's changing, when it's happening, what this means for your studying right now, and stick around to the end for some speculation on how this actually impacts your real score. Let's get started. Almost a year ago, the NBOME Board of Directors approved enhancements to all 3 levels of COMLEX. I love that they call them enhancements, like we're getting a software update that adds dark mode. Actually though, NBOME, if you're watching this, could we actually get dark mode? It's like staring at the sun for 8 hours. That's got to be a violation of the Geneva Conventions. Anyway, here's the TLDR version of what's actually changing. Then we'll talk about how this affects your studying and the scoring system. Level 1 is going from 352 questions to 320 questions, and it's still 8 hours. The target date for this happening is May 2026. Level 2 is doing the same thing, 352 to 320 questions with a target date of June 2026. And yes, the timing is staying the same. So you're noticing in both of these so far, we're just cutting down the number of questions you're going to actually have to do. Level 3, this is the biggest change yet. It's going from a 2-day exam to a 1-day exam. Target date, January 2027. That one is just awesome. I love that change for you guys, having just taken level 3 myself. It sucks. All changes are aligned with the COMLEX USA blueprint, which is their way of saying the content isn't changing, just the format. All right, let's break down what these changes actually mean, starting with the hidden problem that's affecting everyone, testing before May of 2026. So if we have fewer questions, how much time do we now get per question? In order to figure this out, we'll need to do some math, but don't worry, I get it. We're both math impaired. That's why we didn't go to engineering school. That's why we went to medical school. Through the power of prayer, I determined that our current time per question is approximately 82 seconds. With the reduced number of questions, we'll be upgraded to 90 seconds per question. But here's something critical that nobody's talking about yet. TrueLearn, pretty much the monopoly on DO question banks, has already switched to a 90-second per question format a couple of months ago.
You sneaky little bastard.
Which means if you're currently using TrueLearn to prep for a COMLEX that's happening before May of 2026, 100% your practice timer is wrong. Unless they push through some update that'll allow you to use the old timing, the new timer gives you an extra 6 minutes per 44 question block. So for my current students studying for immediate retakes, I've been telling them, don't trust the TrueLearn timer. These timers ain't loyal. Set your own timer for 60 minutes per 44 question block, or at the very least, keep checking the timer and aim to finish 44 questions by the 60-minute mark. Now, if you're testing after May or June 2026, the TrueLearn timer is just fine. Just make sure you're doing 40 question blocks instead of the previous 44, which was the gold standard that we used to do. 40 question blocks will be the new block size in the actual exam. Very similar to how USMLE is structured currently. So make sure you know which exam format you're taking and adjust your practice accordingly. Let's talk about level 1 and 2 specifically. With 32 fewer questions, that means less mental fatigue, which is fantastic. I mean, I remember walking out of COMLEX feeling like a zombie at the end of it. So less mental fatigue, and you gain an extra 8 seconds per question. Over the whole test, that's a whole 44 minutes of buffer time. That's like an entire extra block's worth of time to just second guess yourself or stare at the wall. Tell me I'm wrong. Here's my only concern. Fewer questions means there's less room for statistical noise to work in your favor. With fewer questions, every question now carries slightly more weight. If you're someone who relies on getting lucky on 10 to 15 questions per exam, you just lost some of those opportunities. But if you're actually prepared and know the material, this is a huge W. Quick pause. If you're sitting here thinking, okay, I understand the changes, but I still don't know how to actually study for this thing, I've got you. Join our free Pre-Educated School community. Inside, you get a study plan video that we've used with our real one-on-one students, an 88-question self-assessment with video explanations of every question that I personally recorded, live group tutoring office hours with real DO and MD physician tutors, A full library of practice question breakdowns, we're looking at 100 plus right now and constantly growing, accountability tools, and a community of students and residents who actually understand what you're going through. No paywalls, just support. Link in the description. All right, this is the change everyone needs to pay attention to. Level 3 is going from a 2-day exam to a 1-day exam with a target date of January 2027. And let me tell you what Level 3 is like under the current format so you fully appreciate these changes. Because I lived this nightmare not too long ago. It was just earlier this year in 2025.
You lucky son of a...
I had to drive 8 hours from Tampa, Florida to Montgomery, Alabama to take my test, because that was the closest testing center available. 8 hours. That's a full workday in a car. Wondering to myself, just why did I choose osteopathic medicine? The world may never know. So I get to Montgomery, check into a hotel, and I'm just fighting my inner demons trying to relax that night. The next day, I sat through 4 blocks of 70 multiple choice questions. It's actually a little shorter than level 1 and 2. Each block is only 3.5 hours. In total, that's 280 questions. I leave the testing center, go back to the hotel, and I spend the entire rest of the night just absolutely spiraling. Like, what the hell was that? What did I even learn in medical school?
What the hell is this?
Just like every other COMLEX I'd ever taken, it was nothing like any of the practice questions I had done. Very nice. And then I had to go back and do it all over again the next day. Fortunately, I found a test center that let me take both days back to back, because at this point, some of you poor saps would have had to drive 8 hours back home, go to work for the next week or two, then drive 8 hours back to take the second part of the exam. It doesn't make any sense. So day 2 gets started, and I come back for 2 blocks of clinical decision-making cases. That's 26 cases in total. Plus 2 more blocks of 70 multiple choice questions, because I guess the first 280 just weren't good enough. By the end, I'm just on autopilot. I'm running on Alani and emotional damage.
Emotional damage!
I was so glad it was over. But wait, there's more. Now I had to drive 8 hours back to Tampa to be at work the next day. We love the monopoly that is medical education. Of course, that was not the end of my purgatory. I had to wait 3 months for my score.
Why? 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 Why?
Why? Why? It doesn't make any sense. I was anxious for my score every day. So when the NBOME says they're condensing this into a 1-day exam, I am absolutely thrilled for you. It is one less thorn you have to step on in your journey to pay off your student loans. I mean, become a doctor and help people. End rant. The big question on everyone's mind is about this innocuous statement that the NBOME made. The new format will maintain a similar proportion of multiple choice questions to CDM cases. So let's speculate. If they're truly keeping similar proportions, we might see them just cut everything in half. That would be 420 to 210 multiple choice questions and possibly 26 to 13 CDM cases all in one day. But again, that's just a guess. NBOME hasn't released the specifics yet, so we don't actually know. So how does this affect scoring and pass rates? This is where things get extra speculative. NBOME uses a scaled score system based on question difficulty and exam form. Everything's put on a bell curve, so if one test is particularly hard, you don't get penalized as opposed to the people that got the really easy form. Because we now have drastically smaller sample sizes per candidate, we'll have less statistical reliability and more score volatility. This would be most significant for level 3 since the test, again, is literally being cut in half. We should also expect the first few forms to have unique pass rate fluctuations while the NBOME is recalibrating their scoring model. And for level 3 specifically, if they change the number of CDM cases, does each case now carry more weight? Do they count differently towards your final score? I don't know. So if you're taking level 3 in early 2027, just know you're going to be part of the beta test, but it'll be okay. Probably. All right, the $1 million question. Should you wait to take these exams until the new formats are released? For level 1 and 2, the new format is objectively easier from a time management perspective. More time per question, less fatigue, same content. As long as it doesn't alter your rotation schedule, this can be really helpful for students that struggle with timing. Will it be the thing that defines whether or not you pass? Maybe, but probably not for most people. I wouldn't postpone your test longer than maybe a month to get these new formats. Studying for that much longer might get you some extra points, but it'll definitely accumulate more burnout, which sucks.
It sucked then, it sucks now.
For level 3, this one's trickier. If you're a resident and you were planning on taking level 3 soon, just get it done with and move on. But if you weren't planning to take it until late 2026 anyway, the one-day format is just so much better from personal experience. Yes, you'll be further from med school, but you'll also be practicing more clinical medicine, which ideally is what level 3 is all about. You'll also avoid the 2-day psychological warfare that I had to deal with. Seriously, it was really bad.
You don't want to know.
If your original testing timeline was within a few months of the new change going into effect, it's totally worth just postponing. If I had to guess, pass rates are probably going to be about the same for the first year or two. Like I said, there's going to be some fluctuation, but ideally, fingers crossed, the NBOME really monitors the changes and doesn't let anything too freaky happen. NBOME should, hopefully, adjust the difficulty curve to maintain the historical pass rate benchmarks. But after the first couple of years, who knows? We're looking at the Wild West at that point. If they think the exam is too easy with fewer questions, they might increase the question difficulty over time. Or they might see that students perform better with less fatigue and say, hey, let's just keep it that way. That's the best case scenario if the test actually gets easier and they just leave it that way. But we won't know until we see the score data from the 26 through 27 test cycles. What I will say is this: the students who pass are the ones who are actually prepared. It's not the people hoping to get lucky on 50 questions. So if your strategy has been guess my way through the hard stuff and hope for partial credit, these changes aren't all good news for you. But if you're studying systematically, building real understanding, and using active recall strategies, you should be fine.
Are you sure about that?
Look, here's the reality. These format changes don't make COMLEX much easier or harder. They just make it different. But if you're struggling with content retention, question strategy, test anxiety, burnout, or timing, that doesn't change. And if you've been trying to figure this out on your own and it's not working, you don't have to keep doing that. Like, seriously, there are other people in this world who have walked in your shoes before, like me. Premeducated is my DO-founded COMLEX tutoring company, and it's run by me and other physicians who specialize in getting COMLEX retakers and first-time takers across the finish line. We offer one-on-one tutoring with a team of 99th percentile DO and MD tutors, personalized study schedules that adapt to your progress, real accountability where we tell you exactly what to do. Like, seriously, you don't do any of the thinking. I do it all for you. It's not just good luck, see you next week. And we're so confident we can get you there. We offer pass guarantees for students who complete our programs. If you want to book a one-on-one strategy call with one of our tutoring consultants, we'll review your full test history, identify exactly where you're losing points, map out your timeline, and show you how we help students pass when nothing else has worked. All links are in the description. And if you're done guessing and want actual physician-led plan to pass, apply today. Now get back to studying. The Richter transformation isn't going to memorize itself. You've got this.